What is up, guys? Today we are at the hookup tackle once again, and I'm only here because you guys have been asking me a lot lately, like, hey Jeff, what is a really good beginner glide bait? And so today we're going to be talking about like the top 5 or 6 glide baits that I would recommend for you guys to pick up if you guys are kind of getting into the glide bait mode. So I'm going to be going through showing you guys which ones I'd recommend. Luckily enough, the hookup tackle has a lot of amazing glide baits for you guys to check out. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so the very first bait that I am going to talk about is a bait that I've actually done a video on in the past before, and that is the Storm Rashi glide bait. Now, if you guys have seen the Storm Rashi video that I made probably a few months ago, you guys will know that it's a very erratic style glide bait. So in this video, we're going to be talking about 2 different styles of glide baits. We're going to be talking about kind of the S style motion, where it's kind of slow and methodical, and then you have the reaction side where it's slashing hard side to side. And this is one of those baits that slashes super hard, super well, and it's pretty inexpensive. I want to say it's like $35. It's an awesome bait. It's about 7.5 inches long, so it's a great starter bait. It doesn't weigh that much. It's about 3 1/8 of an ounce, so it's pretty lightweight. You can throw this on like your extra heavy like frog rod or like your pitching rod. It's still light enough for that to be thrown on. So the Storm Rashi Glide, super dope bait, and they still have a few colors here. They still have a few colors in stock right now. So if you guys are looking for a semi-decently large glide bait that's super erratic, the Storm Rashi Glide is definitely one that I recommend. Okay, so the next bait that we're going to be looking at is the IMA. It is the Glide Fluke. This is the 178 size. Now they have they have 2 different sizes on it. They have a 125, and this is the 178. Now this is it's an erratic style swim bait, but it feels like you have a little better control over the bait with this one. So it's not as hard to control as it is with the Rashi. This one's a little bit easier. It doesn't have that much detail. It's kind of pretty much what it's called. It's kind of a fluke style, where it slashes. It's got a very true side-to-side action, and they have a floating and a sinking version. The sinking version, it sinks actually fairly fast. So what I was doing a long time ago is I was fishing it kind of like a spook, where I'd cast it out, let it sink all the way down to the bottom. I wasn't afraid to lose it because it's an inexpensive swim bait. So throw it out there, let it sink down the bottom, rip it off the bottom, and then let it flutter back down, and then rip it off the bottom. And when I'd swim it all the way up, it's going like this all the way up. It looks really dope in the water. So the Glide Fluke, awesome light swim bait. It's about the same size as the Rashi, about 7.5 inches or so, and it only weighs 2.5 ounces. So still super lightweight, but still has a pretty big profile. It swims really good. So again, if you're looking for an erratic swim bait, the Glide Fluke is definitely one to pick up and check out. Okay, so staying kind of in that 7 to 8 inch range, we're looking at the River to Sea Swave 200. Now this is that slow S style motion that it kind of just slithers through the water. It's very slow, it's methodical. A lot of guys up in NorCal, like Tactical Bass and some of the other guys that I know, they catch really big bags on this bait. I don't know why those NorCal fish really like that slow S motion, but they absolutely crush it up there. And when I first started getting into swim baits, the Swave 168 was actually my second or third big glide bait that I owned, and I'd caught quite a few different fish on it, and I love the bait. And like, even though it's an S style, you can sometimes slash it pretty hard and it'll still stay kind of true. So The S-Wave 200, awesome bait. So the S-Wave 200, it's 8 inches long, only weighs 3 3/8 of an ounce, so it's still pretty light. So you're still looking at a heavy frog rod or a heavy jig rod. So not overly the top, but still an awesome bait. Quality hooks, and overall it's an awesome bait if you guys are getting into the big glide baits. So check it out. Okay, so another one of those S-style motion baits is the Duo Reality Onimasu. Now, I've fished the Onimasu in recent years, and it's definitely that S motion style. It's kind of slow. You can kind of get it to jerk. So when you jerk the bait, it'll be going and it'll kind of flash, 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 and then it'll go right back into the S. And so it's more of that reaction style. So you're kind of working it, you're coming up to a piece of cover, and then you slash the bait. Bait's gonna roll side to side real quick and then go right back into that S motion. So another awesome bait that I've personally fished. It's a cool looking bait. It's very thin, so it just cuts through the water. It's very light. It's only 2.5 ounces, so it's super lightweight, and it's just under 7.5 inches long. So they have a sinking and a floating model, and they come in quite a few different colors. So it's another awesome bait to check out if you guys haven't before. So okay, so the next bait we're gonna be looking at is the iSlide, the 185. Now, this is a bait that I haven't had really much time with. I've thrown like the 262 before, which is the bigger brother of this bait. And it's kind of the same. It's that S-style motion, but you can kind of work it like a jerk bait. So it's kind of like that Onimasu. You throw it out there, you get it up to a piece of cover, and you just slash. So it reacts just like a jerk bait, where it'll slash, it'll flash side to side, and then it goes right back into the regular retrieve. Now, it is 185 millimeters, so it's probably like 7.5, almost 8 inches long, and it only weighs 2 ounces. So still a pretty light bait. They come in a bunch of different colors. They come in a floating and sinking version, so whichever one you guys are looking for. They have quite a few. So it's not a bait that I've really ever fished. I know Ben here at the Hookup Tackle has fished this bait, and he's done pretty good on it. So it's an awesome bait. If you guys want to see more videos about it, go check out Oliver and I. He fishes the 185 and the 262 a lot. So it's a fish catcher for sure. And yet another one of those S-style motion baits, that is the Jointed Claw by Gancraft, the 178 size. So it's 7 inches long. It's again 2 ounces, so it's still really light. And this is kind of one of those higher end beginner baits, but it's definitely a sleeper. A lot of guys still that have been in the swim bait game for a while, they still fish the 178, and they absolutely kill them on it. It's definitely a sleeper bait. Myself personally, I've been meaning to pick one up and try it out, and this color is looking awesome. They come in a floating and a sinking. A lot of guys recommend getting the floating and then putting suspend strips so it becomes like a slow sink if you want it like that. So the Gancraft 178, awesome bait. Check it out. All right, guys, so that is the top 6 recommendation for glide baits. If you guys are kind of just getting into swim bait fishing and you wanted to check out some glide baits, there's also a lot of other glide baits out on the market that I haven't had a whole lot of experience or that I haven't really heard a lot of great things about. So these are just the ones that I recommend personally, and they're awesome baits, honestly. And luckily enough, the Hookup Tackle carries a lot of different colors in each one of these baits. They also have other selections of glide baits if you guys are looking for other ones, like the Roman Made Mother Chaser or the Depths 250, of course. But those are the baits. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any other questions about, recommendations on maybe soft baits or multi-piece baits or maybe rod selection, just let me know with a comment down below, guys. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, go out there, chase your dreams.